Today, for the dog lover, we are making a dog dish holder for my dog. I have one water and one food. We have some engraving on it. This one's custom engraved for the dog and the owners, or if you prefer, the mom and dad. Cutouts for these bowls. These bowls are stainless steel bowls. I get them on Amazon. I'll put a link down there below. What's nice about this one, it's made from dimensional lumber. There's two 2x6s on the top, a couple of 2x6s here. There's nothing to them. There's also only 3 pieces. There's the top and there's the 2 legs. I did this one in kind of a burned finish, which I don't particularly care for. Don't tell anybody that. But whatever the customer wants, what I do. The legs are held on simply by countersunk construction screws. So easy project, easy to get a hold of the material. Let's give her a go. Hey, if you like what you see here or you found it interesting or useful, why don't you give that subscribe button a click. Maybe give us a like, maybe hit the little bell thingy, lets you know when we put up new videos. What? Huh? Oh, my lawyer would like a word with you.
Danger, Will Robinson! Danger! No, Will Robinson! Danger!
Okay, so for the dog dish, we have basically 2 parts. There's the top and there's the legs. Let's start with the top. I, for this project, just used dimensional lumber. 2x6s, 2 of them. So the top dimension that I have, we'll just make a rectangle for it, is about 24 inches long and about 10 3/4 inches wide, or height is what they call it here. That has to account for the jointing of the 2 pieces, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to radius this internal to give me a nice corner on there, and I always like to start at 0, 0, so I'll create that. So that's what the outside of the dog dish looks like. Now I got to put 2 cutouts in here for the bowls. The ones that I have from Amazon, the bowls are 7 3/8 diameter. Where am I going to put them? Well, I'm going to put one centered right here, and I want to put one centered right here. Since we know this is 24, that means we know this is 12. That means we know this is 6. All right, so -6 in this case. So we'll do a circle, and that circle will be 7 3/8. Okay, and we're just going to put it at 0, 0 for right now. I could, you know what, let's place it where we should. Let's put it at -6. Instead of placing it, moving it, we'll place it where it should be, -6 and 0. So there it is, centered there. Now we'll do another one, and we'll go +6 and 0. We'll create that. There you go, the 2 cutouts. Couldn't be easier. So now let's cut those out, and I always like to do the interior stuff first. So you know what, let's do some engraving on here first. It's not really engraving, but that's what we'll call it. The paw prints. So let's import that. So Control I, and it'll ask me which one, and now I gotta go find them. Dog dish holder top with bone. Okay, let's try this. Open that up. Yeah, they're the paw prints. Okay, there's some other stuff in there too. We're just going to get rid of that. Okay, so I'm going to shift and select the paw print. That actually deselects it, as you can see. Then I'm going to hit delete. So basically I deleted everything except this paw print. All right, now we'll go ahead and move this paw print about where we want it, right about there. And it looks a little big to me. It's going to be covered by the lip. If we do a round over, that kind of stuff. So let's shrink this down a little bit. It's 2.2. Let's try, I don't know, 1.8. Let's try that, see if that works. Yeah, 1.8 looks fine. Okay. so now let's do this. Let's select it. I hit Control C to copy it and Control V to paste it, and it pastes it right over the other one, but it does give me the handles. So I'll move that guy up here. I'll do the same thing. Control C, Control V, and we'll move this guy over here. Control V, just so I don't have to hit Control C again. You want to make sure you get the circle. And we'll do one more, Control V. Okay, and we'll put this guy, I gotta grab him first, there we go. We'll put him offset a little bit here. Just in case in the future, first of all, I'll know this is the front of the dog dish. Not that it matters, but a lot of times I like to engrave the name of the dog here, and that offset is nice to do. I could go back and look at this under a microscope and position these exactly right. I kind of do a lot of things by eye, so I'm going to call those pretty good. All right, so now let's get to the actual toolpath stuff. The first thing we're going to do is let's engrave these guys, okay? So we're not really going to engrave them because they're single lines, and you could, and it would cut out all the middle stuff. You could do it, but I just want the outlines. So that's really a profile toolpath. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit the shift here, and I'm going to select all of these. Okay, and I know from experience about 0.07 or 0.08 is usually pretty good. 60-degree bit, good. On, that's correct. I want it to go right on the line. I'm only going 0.07 deep. I don't need to ramp. I don't need to add tabs. I don't need to do any of that stuff. We'll call these pause. Okay. So that looks good. Next thing we'll do is we will cut out these circles. So what'll I do? We'll choose a profile toolpath. We'll select both circles. Okay. And we want to go 1.75 deep. You might want to change that, whatever kind of stock you're using. We are going to use my go-to bit, which is a 6mm rougher. I have different tools for different types of materials. In general, I call a hardwood ash and a softwood basswood. Pine dimensional lumber is a little sticky. It's got some pitch and stuff in it. So I am going to use ash. The only difference, like for instance, I'll choose ash here. You can see I got 80 inches per minute. The basswood, I can crank that up to 120. I'm not making 1,000 of these. The time difference isn't going to kill me. I'm going to use ash. It will give me a little better surface finish without burning it or anything like that. How do I know that? Just by experience. So I'm going to select that. I don't want on anymore. I want on the inside, right? And I could put tabs there and cut those out later and sand them internally with a drum sander. I don't need to do that with these. I normally have a vacuum table that I will put something of this size on. So I'm not going to do that. I will ramp the plunge moves though, just to make it a little easier on the bit. And I'll call these dog dish circles, I guess. Okay. We'll cut those out. Then lastly, we'll cut out the outside. Again, we'll use a profile toolpath. This time, we want to cut on the outside of that. Okay, and you know what? We can ramp the plunge move, same as before. Depending on how you're going to hold this down, you might want to put tabs on there. If you do, you might want, I would put them on the straight parts here so they're easy to sand off when you get them down. And we'll call this outer profile. Okay, calculate. Now we'll reset the preview and we will preview all the tool paths. Okay. Outer profile did not. What's going on there? Let's take a look at that. Outer profile. 5. Oh, I didn't select it. I'm sorry. Disregard that. I didn't select the outer profile. I selected to cut the circles twice. Sorry about that. Let's try that again. All right. So now, and that just goes to show that you should always preview your tool paths. Always preview all tool paths. There we go. That looks a little better. Okay, that looks great. So that is what we want. All right, so this top looks like it's finished. Let's go on to the legs. So we finished the top. And we've named it. We did a file save as. Again, you don't want to name it over your blank window. So we will go and open the blank window again. We want to make sure we set it at 1.75 thickness because we're just using dimensional lumber again. All right, so I like to have this open all the time. Okay, so legs. We can do anything, okay? I'll show you the legs we did on the sample. I'll make them up, real quick here. And, it depends on what kind of dog you're making this for. If you're making it for a, stocky little dogs like mine, I make them short. If you make them for, labs or larger dogs, I make them taller. Let's start. Let's call it 8 inches tall and, 6 inches wide. Okay, so we'll do a rectangle and we'll make the width 6. This is a little confusing here because width is this way and height is this way. We'll make them square this time. We're just doing the size of the material right now. Okay, and we will create that. So that's where it is. Okay. So now we have to do that kind of cathedral type leg. Let us do the cutout top and bottom and we'll make those symmetric, okay? Draw a circle. I'm winging this. Okay, I'm gonna make it that big. How big is that? Apparently the diameter is 4.6279 inches. All right. And then I will move it. There's my cutout. Okay. I can get rid of, using the interactive vector trim tool, I'll get rid of this and I'll get rid of this. There's my cutout. Okay. I can grab that cutout and I'll just mirror image it. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to flip it vertical and I want to create a mirrored copy. All right, so flip vertical, there it is, mirrored copy. Again, I will trim out this part. Okay, now for the ones in here. I could do it with a circle. Sure I could. I could do it with an ellipse if I wanted to. Let's do it with an arc. I'm going to go, let's zoom in a little bit just so I can get a better look at it. Go from here to about here, and I'll do it about like that. Okay, I'll do the same trick again. Okay, I will mirror image it, but this time, creating a mirrored copy, I'll flip it horizontal. There we go. All right, now I'll use the snipper tool. I'll snip this out. I'll snip that out. That looks pretty good to me for short, for doing it on the fly. You can obviously change any of these dimensions for your dog, taller, shorter. Maybe you want to put a little cutout in here. That would be cool. Whatever. This looks pretty good to me. All right, so now if we want to cut this out, we can't, it's in pieces. It's just a bunch of pieces. So we have to make it into something that VCarve can carve out. So I'm holding down the shift. Well, I can do this. Let's do it this way. We'll just select the whole thing. I could also hold down the shift button, select each individual part. And we go over here to the join tool, join open vectors. Okay, so it's going to join them all together. And you can see here, currently, there's 8 open vectors. If I set the tolerance, in other words, the tolerance is where this one ends and this one begins, to 0.02. Okay, sometimes you miss by a little bit. You might want to set that bigger or smaller. You can see after joining, there's one closed vector, and that's what we want. So we will join this. Okay. And there we have it. Those are the legs. We'll cut out 2 of them. And if it were me, what I would do is copy this one up here and cut them both out of the same piece of wood. You know what, I'll show you how to do that real quick. Okay, so you can do it a number of ways. You can, let's cut it out first, but okay, so now when we click on any part of it, it grabs the whole thing. We'll do this guy. Same thing, we're on the outside, okay, and we'll call this outer profile. All right. So now it's cutting it out. Remember what I told you? Always reset and preview the whole thing. There you go. Okay, that's what she looks like. And that looks pretty good. Okay. All right, so there's any number of ways. I could copy and paste this and then put it up here. I'll show you that. You know what? Control C, Control V. Move it up here. Give me a little space in between. And then recalculate this to include both of them, right? Shift, calculate. Now I got 2 of them. Okay. I'm going to Control Z. That means undo what you just did. Okay. I will recalculate just to make sure. Okay. Or I could do what's called an array toolpath copy. It doesn't matter on this one because there's really only one toolpath. But if you got a lot of stuff over here, different toolpaths, different tools, different everything, this is a quick way to do it. And that is do an array copy. Rows and columns. I'll just do 2. And offset, in other words, you want distance from center to center, or do you want gap? I always use gap because it's just a little easier for me, and we'll put a gap of 1 inch between them. Okay. On the X, you know what? Let's hang on a sec. Let's do this over here. 1 inch between. Okay. So we'll calculate that. Reset the toolpath. Preview all toolpaths. There you go. Okay. Depending on which way you want your grain to go, let's redo that, right? So let's get out of the array toolpath. We will ungroup them. That gets rid of the array toolpath. And we'll array toolpath again, and we'll do it the other way. We'll go 2 rows and 1 column. Okay? And we'll calculate that one. reset the toolpath. Preview. So this probably is a better representation of what you want because the grain's going up and down this way and not this way makes for a stronger part. Any way you want to do that is fine. Okay. I am going to get rid of this toolpath and I'm going to save this. Save as, because look right here, I'm on my blank machining window. So I want to file save as, whoops, save as. And I called the other one something dog dish 2. What do I call it? Dog dish top holder only 2. So I'm going to call this top dog dish holder leg only 2. Save. All right, so you got the legs and the top. We'll take her out to the shop now and make the parts.
Yeah, you get the idea.
I am the god of hellfire, and I bring you fire.
I don't normally finish stuff this way, but it's not what I want. Certainly didn't take very long. Assembly, super easy. Just 4 screws basically. I have counter bored holes here. They're not countersunk, they're counter bored, so you won't see the screw head. And incidentally, a couple of years ago, I went to Torx exclusively. It pained me to no end to throw away perfectly good screws, Phillips and square drive. I am not that kind of guy, but it had to be done, and now everything is Torx, so I'm not searching around for a bit. It's funny, I take stuff apart that I've done years ago, and I got to search around for those 3 bits, but now I just use Torx. These are pre-drilled holes. That's all there is to her. I'll probably get maybe one more coat on there. Get you up here. Okay, so after action on the dog dish project. What would I do differently? What did I like? What did I didn't like? I took a little long on the CAD part of it. I was making it up from scratch. The files that I give you have all that stuff done, and I tweaked them a little bit just to make them better. So that's about the only thing I do differently. I use the same dog dishes for my dog. I'm a huge dog lover. I have 2 rescues. They love them, Matilda and Doja, if you care. So what do you guys think? You guys, should I do some other like dog or even pet related projects in the future? Leave what you think in the comments below, and I will take that under consideration for future videos. Thanks so much for watching.